morning, fellow speakers. It isn't that bad. I was riding in my pickup truck about a year ago, and my nephew was driving, and we were towing a rather large speedboat. And I was in the passenger seat when I noticed outside the side window some movement. I looked out there, and there was this kind of burly-looking guy with big arms, good tan, and he had a bandana for a hat. And there was a kid on the motorcycle behind him, and he was trying to communicate with me non-verbally. That's why he was flipping me the bird. Now, my first thought was mierda, or however you want to put it. But my second thought was, it reminded me that I've been working on confrontations for the last 20, 25 years. And it was another opportunity. And the first thing that went through my mind was that inside of me there's a warrior. And every man inside of them has a warrior. And he's a pure good spirit. And with a good cause, my warrior will stand up and fight for me to the death. If it was to save my son's life or some meaningful thing, he would fight. He would never quit. He wouldn't feel pain. He would go the distance. And yet, as I looked out the window, I wasn't sure this was a time for a warrior. But I did think about all the warriors I'd seen in my life for a minute. And most of the warriors I'd seen go into battle were led poorly. Most of them seemed to be, I saw warriors in bar fights. I saw warriors demeaning their children or terrorizing their wives. But I didn't see very many pure warriors. And I thought the warrior really needs two things to be the best warrior he can be. He needs a cause that is worthy. He needs something to really fight for, that he believes in, so he can go the distance. The second thing the warrior needs is a leader that has the ability or the wisdom to know a good cause and to lead his warrior in a way that the warrior wants to follow. And so my next thought was about, what about the leader I'd been working on? I'd been working on my leader for another 20 years also. And my leader was someone who I believe that should embody all the qualities that would make me the best person I could be. And so 20 years ago, I would look outside myself for a leader person. Maybe Clinton, or maybe even recently Tiger Woods. And yet every time I looked for a leader or a hero outside myself, there wasn't one on this planet who still seemed like a great leader. I mean, Tiger was great for a good backswing, but it seemed like everything else, he was limited in his leadership abilities. So who would be a leader that could really lead myself in times of crisis, in times of conflict, in times of confrontation? Who would I use as a leader? And so I started thinking, there's no one on the planet. Jesus was a great leader, but only at times when I wanted to be compassionate. And so I looked through all the people I could think of as a role model or a leader or a hero, and it came to me that there was no one on the planet that was really very good. And so instead I started kind of cherry picking. Out of Jesus I took this, out of God I took that, out of Muhammad or whoever I wanted to choose, I would take little pieces of them and make myself the leader I wanted to be in times of crisis, in times of conflict. And so I built my own leader from the ground up. And he was a guy I would try to be in times that I really needed a leader. So I was riding in my truck and I thought, this is the time to be a leader. So I sat up in the truck kind of straight and thought, I will now be the leader, just like I'm trying to act right now like I'm a speaker. And I'm now going to be the leader. And I thought, okay, there's a guy outside my window who apparently wants to beat the whatever out of me, and he's sending me another nonverbal message. And I thought, well, he probably, as a leader, didn't do this to every truck pulling the boat, because there's too many of us. So maybe something happened. And I thought, an older gentleman who used to be one of the people that I do try to emulate and follow, he told me that anger is not a primary emotion. You only get angry after some event happens, like you get scared or jealousy or something. So I thought, with my nephew driving, and he doesn't do that often, pulling a big boat, we probably did something that caused him to be angry looking through my window like that. So I thought, okay, maybe we did something that created this situation. And that gave me the opportunity to say, we could do three things now. We could drive on and I could ignore him. Secondly, I could confront him non-verbally back and flip him right back. Or maybe there was a third way that my leader, who was, he tried to embody the best I could be, there was a better way to do this. And I thought, there is. So I looked at him and kind of waved at him and he flipped me off again. And I went, no, 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 no. Him, me, we know, see you. I'm sorry. He had to read my lips. And he flipped me off again. I said, no, 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 no. Him, we know, see you. I'm sorry.
Oh,
and he
no.
flipped me off again. Well, now I had a clear way to go, so I kept back and forth. And we probably did that a half dozen times. So I would say to him, no, 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 this isn't that situation. We made a mistake. And after about 6 or 7 times, he looked back at me and shook his head, and we just rode down in tandem down the highway for a while. And I sat back and I thought, this was a good confrontation. I didn't have to flip him back and raise the bar and cause more trouble. I didn't have to just ignore him. I actually, in some sense, felt like I added clarity to the world. That the leader that I was for just a moment added clarity rather than chaos. And then there was one final thing that was kind of nice. As the motorcycle went up on the off-ramp, I saw the kid looking back on the back. And I waved at him, and he waved back. And I thought maybe he saw that in conflicts there's more ways than just passivity or aggression. So that's my story about nonverbal communication. Thank you for listening.